No, you're supposed to practice if you want to.
Yeah, well, we were just talking before you came on there. Can I ask you to at least do a real quick overview again of tuning to the beat frequency? And the reason I asked that is because I got on YouTube and I was looking at some of the videos, and I understand the concept. If you're on beat frequency, then you're not getting any modulation, you're just getting a carrier. You can tune off
Mm,
on the receive. But then on the video, they started talking about changing the transmit
right.
on there.
That's that is what happens when you when you're zero beated, you guys are transmitting on the same frequency.
Right.
That's what zero beat means. You're transmitting on the exact same frequency.
Well, I knew that, but they were showing to do in a pileup to do a change on
Oh
the
yeah.
transmit. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure if the other guy is on one frequency and I'm doing a tune and I'm coming off of that frequency by doing a shift in my transmitting frequency.
Uh-huh.
Am I, how is he receiving me other than like if I go 300 kilohertz, yeah, he may be still within the width. But if
Okay.
I go up more than that, how does that happen?
Can you see this? Oh, can you see my paint? Can you see that?
I can.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to draw our little spectrum. Hopefully it's a straight line. Okay. And now I'm going to draw the DX station where the DX station is transmitting.
Got
Right.
it.
So ideally, when you are when you are zero beat, the red is going to be you are transmitting on the exact same frequency. Your receiver
Yep.
has built into it the ability to do an offset internally, which is normal. I mean, that is what a beat frequency oscillator does. So let's say your radio is designed for a frequency of 600 hertz, right? Or you have it set for 600 hertz. Essentially, it's like you're going to be receiving this far away. And that difference is going to be 600 hertz. And that takes your internally generated signal and the signal that's coming in, mixes them together and makes a 600 hertz tone. The whole point of a side tone tracking oscillator is if you don't like 600 hertz, you can set up your receiver to generate a tone that is over here at the green line. And that will be this far away. And that might have a 700 hertz offset, which in your receiver will generate a 700 hertz pitch tone. But that is kind of like behind the scenes. The whole idea is that when you have a side tone that's generated by your transmitter, right? So let me switch my microphone over here.
Make sure I need to do that.
Everybody here okay? Okay. It's a tracking side tone so that when I transmit, that is the same pitch that I should be tuning the radio to be receiving. If I were to change it, then I would have to tune with my ear to a different pitch. I would have to match the pitch, whatever that pitch is of my side tone, to what I'm hearing coming in from the receiver. That's how you achieve zero beat on a radio that has a side tone tracking system.
I'm with you on the receive, but on the video I was watching, they lost me when they started talking about changing the transmit.
Right. Okay. So here's what I'm hoping is that there's a massive pileup going on. It looks like it says CQ lonely, but let's see. I'm going to try to find. Okay, I'm going to draw my own pileup. Okay, we're going to go back to paint. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're now looking at pile-ups, right? So ideally, if it's not a pile-up, the stations are transmitting on the exact same frequency, which is in blue, right? They are 0 beat to each other. Now, what happens if it's a normal day and somebody's calling CQ and there are two stations that decide to respond on that frequency, one here and one right about here? Right, and they're both transmitting at the same time. What's going to happen?
Well, obviously, you're going to have a collision. It's going to be hard to distinguish between the two.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay, so how do you avoid that? Now remember, that's just two stations calling. If you've got a good ear, you can probably tell the difference. You know, you can hear the difference between the two and pick one out and pick one, and that station will win, and then the other station will have to wait his turn if he feels like it and come back a little bit later. And then when the other station comes back a little later, you'll work him and everybody will be happy. Okay? But now, let's say that you have all these stations calling on the same frequency. Right? So let me erase this. Let me erase our box. Okay? The box no longer exists. So now I'm going to put a purple station right here. Okay, and I'm going to put a dark blue, I'm going to put a, that was dark blue, let's put a purple one right here. Okay, and now which is the one, which is you? Which signal in there is you?
The red is what we were, right?
No, you're the black one.
Oh,
right?
I'm transmitting. Okay.
Yeah, you're transmitting. Okay.
Okay.
What are you trying to have happen? You're trying to pick somebody out and then what?
Communicate with them. Do it. Cue us up.
Yeah,
right?
but how are they going to do that? You have to be able to hear them, and they have to be able to hear you. Well, everybody wants to talk to you. Everyone's talking at the same time. Let's put a few more on here. All right, and let's add another one, and oh, right there. And so, how many signals are piled on top of each other?
Too many.
A bunch.
There's like 6 or 7, right? Okay. So now what you have happening is when you try to call out and say, okay, I want the station that's gray. I want only the gray station. Did everybody else hear you say that? No, because
Nope.
they're busy transmitting. They're busy transmitting. They're transmitting right on top of you and over you, so they can't hear you. So they just keep transmitting, and the whole thing falls apart. So the way this works is we put a big X through it, and then we erase the whole thing, and we start over. And we're going to put our baseline right here, and here is us calling. So what we intentionally do is we say, when we call, I'll call CQ N7JI up. Okay, so what I am doing is I am directing everybody to change their transmit frequency and call me above. So that all those stations that call, I might get one over here. And notice these are all going to be different signal levels too. One over here. And let's say one in here. And one right over here. Let's put a green one over here. And let's have a blue one right there. And we'll put a purple one over here. Another purple one. You know, let's make it orange. Okay. So, now, I called CQ N7JI up. Everybody else has modified their transmit frequency, and I am listening where they are transmitting. I am listening and scanning through this entire range of frequencies using my second VFO, or my receiver incremental tuning, right? Which is basically a second receiver or an ability to adjust the frequency of my receiver. They are listening to me on that black line's frequency, and I am tuning around and listening to all of them.
Just a
And
minute, Kristen. I don't have my earbud in, so I can't hear you.
so basically what we're doing is we are tuning and asking them to move somewhere else. All right, so what's the advantage of this? When I say I got this blue station right here, this is the one I want to call. This one over here. When I say that, I have a clear frequency, don't I? Because everybody else is off of it. So whether or not any individual heard me, hopefully my timing is such that the blue station is the one that heard what I was saying. And the blue station heard me say it, and I don't really care, for the most part, if the green one or the yellow one or the orange one kept calling, because I'm not tuned to them anyway. Similarly, let's say that I am one of the hunters, right? And let's say that I am this little yellow signal, right? What do you notice about the little yellow signal?
He's weak.
Yeah, he's really weak. Okay, what if I were to take my little yellow signal and look at the band and put my little yellow signal way over here? And everybody else is beating the crap out of each other, right? You basically have a wall. You might have one or two strong signals popping through the wall, right? Which are the really big ones. But for the most part, they're just going to obliterate each other. Right? This is a pile-up. Which one, and I have been on the other end of it, which one do you think is the one that gets heard?
It's probably going to be the little yellow one because
Little
he's
bitty
all
yellow
out there
one, which is
isolated.
all out there by himself. That's right. And I have been the station with the black mark there. I've been the DX station, and this is the one that I hear. Because, again, he's all by himself. That little yellow one. And that there are lots of interesting ways to bust a pile-up. And having been on the other end of a pile-up, that is one of the ways to bust a pile-up. If you're not a particularly big station.
So Scott,
Yes.
how did that little yellow one know to go that much higher than the rest of the group?
How do you think?
Well, I mean, did they see that there was this pileup, so they themselves again bumped
Yep.
up a little bit?
There you
Okay.
go. Another way to do it is if you can listen while you're one of the hunters. Let's say I'm a little yellow hunter there, and I hear that the big station, because I can copy code too, is I can actually hear enough of the local stations to know that I know that the station that just got answered was that big orange one. And I don't see anybody else around him. I will sometimes tune right to the exact frequency that the big orange one is on. And put myself in a position so that I'm making it really easy for the DX station to find someone. I'm basically filling up the gap that is now left.
All right, Scott. So let me see if I've got this straight in
I'm,
my head.
I'm giving you all my secrets here.
Well, that's good. I'm writing them down so I can publish them. So as I understand it, let's say I'm okay. I'm calling CQ on the black frequency we got there. Then all of a sudden, I let them know up, so they come in other places. So I use my incremental transmitting tuner.
You use your receiver incremental tuning. RIT.
Well, I have a transmitter all set and receiver all set
you leave
on my radio.
You leave your transmitter right where it is because everyone's listening for that. You don't touch a thing on your transmitter.
So what do I do? Is you change my receiver offset then?
Who are you looking for?
Well, if I'm transmitting on the black line and I say I want to go and listen to the orange station there.
Yep.
I use my receiver incremental
Yep.
tuning
Yep.
to go up to orange and leave my transmitting on the black. Is that the way it works?
You do not touch your transmit frequency because everyone is keyed on that.
Yeah, and see that was the thing that I was getting confused with, was because both in the video I saw it started talking about changing my transmitter incremental tuning, and on the radio that I have a transmitter incremental tuning knob.
Yes, you do have that.
Yeah,
Yes, you
and
do
so
have that, but you're typically not going to use that as now. When you will use that is if you are one of the hunters, because what do you know about that black line? It never moves, right?
okay,
It doesn't move. So the only thing you're going to be changing is your transmit frequency. You always want to be listening for the guy on the black line.
got it. I got it. Okay, you just explained it all. I figured it out. Sounds good. Thanks.
So yeah, this is pile up management, and it's a lot of fun to work them, and it's a lot of fun to be in them. It can be a little stressful sometimes, but if you want to experience what this is like, let's see, Morse runner. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this. Okay, so this is a chance for everybody to listen. Can everybody see that? Okay, Morse runner. Okay, I'm going to make sure I share it with audio. This is a great tool for practicing your pile-up management skills. Essentially, what this is a pile-up simulator. We're going to set this to like 16 words a minute, and we're going to say high activity, and we're going to run for 5 minutes. Everybody ready? Copy everything you can. Here we go. Okay, see the one I copied? And I'm going to give them a signal report. R 001. Then I'll send thank you. GOA. I got GOA, so I asked for just GOA. And then he'll fill it in from five, nine, nine. And then I'll send TU. I'll verify the call sign is right. And then TU. DF8QB. R 001. I say thank you. Okay, how do I get more contacts out of this? What's it waiting for me to do? What am I going to have to do? I'm going to... Yep. And then we'll see how many people answer. The one I copied was 4D70SAN. It was a low pitch. Number, question mark. That means please send the number again. Received. And that's a 2. Which one should I go for? Which one is popping out for you guys?
Obviously, the slow one's coming through real strong, but
Yeah,
it's very slow.
But sometimes you can separate them by pitch too. And I'll ask again. They're right on top of each other, aren't they? Ah, we got one ERU. They separated themselves out a little bit by time. And they'll clarify it. Okay, R1 ERU. $599 002. And then I'll confirm the call sign. Da 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 da. W8V W9VY. Received. 599. And a 2. Okay. So that is how this thing works. And that's called Morse Runner. And once you're comfortable copying letters, what it allows you to do is work on, like, for instance, you can set activity really low and you can have it so that the band is nice and clean. Now, you can also add QRN. What's QRN, everyone?
Noise.
Noise, man-made noise. So that's static crashes. QRM.
Noise as well, but
Signal crashes.
No, that's people right nearby transmitting on top of it. QSB. QSB is long-term fade.
oh yes.
And flutter. Flutter is what you hear when signals go over the poles, and you get a rapid fluttering sound. And how about lids? Anyone know what a lid is? Come on, somebody's got to know what a lid is. Somebody who's been a ham for a while. A bad operator, yes. So a lid, when you turn lids on, what that does is it has people calling and calling and calling right on top of you all the time, right on top of the other station all the time, just to make it more challenging. And so when I was in Vanuatu, yes, there were a couple of people who did that. They just called and called and called and called right over top other people. It made it very difficult. And I intentionally tuned away from them. I would not even listen to them anymore. So they didn't work me. Okay, so that's Morse Runner. In case anyone's curious, again, it's called Morse Runner. It's free. It's been around forever. And it's a really good practice tool. And let's see if there's anything going on right now on 10 meters. So let's hear about how your studying has gone while I'm looking for this.
But
So
question, in a
go ahead.
net, when people double, is that like a pileup of 2?
Yes.
Is it the same thing?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. But the thing is, with FM, they obliterate each other completely. You know, with Morse code, like if they're 100 hertz apart, I can tell them apart. It's when you get so many calling that you can't separate anyone that you have a problem. And if you ever get the opportunity to, let's say you do a POTA or a SOTA or something, and you get 5 or 6 people calling at once, that's what it's like. And it would be uncommon for somebody to have to, to operate split, during a POTA, but it's not impossible.
Scott, when
Yeah.
that happens, So let's say you've got a whole bunch of signals coming in and you can't pick one out. Can you repeat your call sign and up and but then I guess they'll all do it, right?
Well, that's the idea.
Yeah, but if they all do it, then they're all piled up just a little bit higher.
If they're smart, they'll understand that up does not mean up exactly the same amount for everybody.
Right, but how do they know what the others are? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Well, if they're listening to the pile up, they will naturally spread out. And what I have seen is that people who want to make a contact, if they are familiar with how the whole DXing protocol works and working split and stuff. So I can actually, okay, so let's say that I am the DX station, right? And I'm going to go and I'm going to share this again. And okay, start this right here. All right, so let's say everyone can see that, right?
right,
Okay, so let's say that this is at 14.025 that I'm calling, right? And I might say up 3, right? That could be very specific. I usually am not that specific. So people will typically start at, because you don't want to move more than you have to, right? That would be silly. So someone would come up to, let's say, 026. And as it starts to get crowded, they'll notice that I, as the person who's managing the pile up, am listening between 026 and 028 because that's the way that I'm able to hear people. Because what is my desire? What's my goal?
Make contact.
I went halfway around the world, right? I want to make contacts. I want to make contacts with these people. Well, if I find that I can't do that because there's just too many people there, and I hear somebody who's willing to take a chance and call up here a really weak little signal at, let's say, 0.031, right? Somebody's calling at 0.031. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to answer them at that point. And what that effectively does is it takes this box and it widens it up. And now I have expanded my entire range of where I'm listening considerably. And now I am operating in this entire zone. So they know, hopefully, if they are paying attention to who's getting called, they will see that I am now listening from 0.026 to 0.031. What that will do is that it will take some of these stations, which will see, oh, I must be in the middle of a lot of stuff. I'm going to move up here. That would be a smart move. They stand a good chance of getting hurt if they do that. This other one might say, oh, you know what? There's way too much noise right where I am. I'm going to move up here.
A question.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I understand it, you will continue transmitting on your original 025.
Yep.
But now somehow you will hear, how will you deliberately hear that wider band? Because you're changing your receive? Yeah.
RIT, receiver incremental tuning.
Okay,
I will
so
continually change my receive frequency. I will scan up and down, listening
Okay.
for a signal that I can copy.
you'll scan it, so you won't sit on any one of those in that wider band, but you'll keep moving up and down it.
Well, it depends. And it's interesting too, because if you listen, this is actually a part of how to break a pile up as well.
Yeah.
You might see that a station that is working the pile up kind of starts here. The first station they work is there, and the next one they work is here, and the next one they work is here, and the next one they work is here, and the next one they work is here. What does that mean?
They're widening they're
Not
changing-
specifically widening. What are they doing?
They're listening at a different point.
Yeah, but what in particular? What direction are they moving?
They're going up in their incremental tuning.
That's
the
right.
starting low and moving up.
That's right. They're moving up. Some
Oh,
people, as you listen, don't follow that kind of pattern. And if you try to find a pattern, they will like start here, and the next one will be up here, and then here, and then here, and then back to here. And as somebody who is trying, it's just kind of like figuring out what the other operator is trying to do and how they're trying to make contacts. So if that's happening, what's the best thing to do? You just would pick a frequency that you're transmitting on as the hunter and stick with it,
but
because eventually they might find you.
as the one being hunted, okay, so you're on split because you're keeping your
Both.
transmit,
Yes, both are on split.
and the receiver, I mean, the person on the other end has to be on split too, because
Also, correct.
not gonna hear you except on your original one.
Correct.
But he's making himself heard by transmitting on this new wider choice.
Correct.
Hmm.
Essentially, it's kind of like making a phone call where both of you can kind of talk at the same time because you're on two different frequencies. You're not obliterating each other.
Okay.
You're trying to figure out who to talk to make sure that you can hear them. And so, for instance, from Vanuatu, there were times that I was up to about 200, 250 contacts an hour. More often than not, when it was really crowded, it was like 120 or so. So once every 30 seconds, because sometimes it's hard to find, it's hard to pick out the one good signal in that mess that you can hear, and because of other people that keep calling, there might not be anybody in the clear. So, it's frustrating, and but it's challenging, and it's a lot of fun. And it relies on, how good are your ears at picking things out. So things that can distinguish a signal. Well, it could be on a certain pitch. It could be at a certain time, right? Two signals that are right on top of each other. You can't hear either one, but one drops out. The other one is still left. That's the one you hear. Sometimes you'll have all of these that are right on top of each other, and this tiny one over here comes out. That's the one you hear. And it's so there's a lot of skill in putting your signal where somebody else will hear it. There's a lot of luck, but there's also a lot of skill. There are ways to sort of like tip the table a little bit. So how about you guys want to practice some code?
No.
What else have you guys been working on? Because this is actually a great discussion. What else have you been working on, and what else have you heard? What else have you seen that you want to know?
I've been working on the code pretty good, and I've been staying with the LCWO, and then I actually went back to Morse Mania. They've got some good challenges in the Morse Mania that
Okay.
jumps around and does some stuff. But what I was trying to do was to get my radio set up with the key and set up to operate, and I was looking for the frequency offset because I found when I was going through my manual, I've got a ICOM 756,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like it's set. The maximum I can do is a 300 kilohertz offset either side. I thought you could. Most of the ones that I've seen have said they go up to about 600. So, what do you have any?
Well, 300 kilohertz is enormous. That's a huge shift.
Is it?
That's not 300 hertz. That's 300 kilohertz.
Okay. Well, maybe I need to look at it. 300 might have been 300 hertz. It would have to be.
No,
but I've got
most radios will go, the receiver incremental tuning plus or minus 10 kilohertz.
Okay.
These are pretty wide.
It's got what I've got is what's called a PBT, and
that's totally different. That's passband tuning.
Is it? Because that's
totally
the only
different.
way
that's totally different.
Okay, because that's the only way I've been able to figure out to get my offset in that.
Yeah, no, passband tuning doesn't change the receiver frequency at all. It changes the passband of the receive filter only. So it allows a different pitch to come through because it's changing the center frequency of the filter. But that's all.
Okay, that makes sense. I also have a RIT and you know, a transmit too.
Well, you've
But
also got two VFOs.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah.
So you should be using the two VFOs.
Okay, another question. On the 817 radio, does it have,
Hold on. It's got noisy here. Okay, go ahead. Say that again.
do we have a pile up here? No, filter on my radio 817. Is there one?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because some radios have and some haven't, and I haven't been able to tell. And if you don't have one, what is it to install a filter?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I don't know if it's, you know what? There's this Collins mechanical filter that goes in the 817. And you get yours new or used?
Oh, it was new once, but it's old now.
Well, I mean, did you buy it or did somebody else?
My husband bought it.
Okay, so unless he put the filter in it,
He probably did not. So
then it probably doesn't have one.
Is that necessary?
It's gonna help, especially when band conditions get tight.
So what does it mean to put one in? What does that involve?
I don't remember if that's a solder in or a plug in. It's either a socket or you have to solder it. I mean, you have to buy it first, and I'm sure you can still get them. And they were around. The radio's been around forever.
Yeah. So it is and
It's probably $100, 125, something like that.
it's possible to manage without it, but it wouldn't work very well.
So I had what happens is I had a Kenwood 520S without a CW filter. That was my first ever radio, and I did a lot of CW with it. And what I noticed was that I had an audio filter, but it didn't filter at the IF frequency, which basically meant that if there was a strong signal nearby, I could filter out the audio, but it would still wipe out my receiver because it didn't protect it at all internally. So I couldn't hear anything. So that's why if you're going to be doing CW, that's why it's important to have a CW filter because you can quiet things down. Now, if you have a radio that does digital signal processing, which most of the very modern radios do, like the 7300 and a bunch of the Yaesus, all of their filtering is done digitally, and it's all programmable because it's all done digitally. It's basically just modifying a delay line and changing how the program works internally. So you can essentially program a filter, and it works very well. And because it works on the intermediate frequency amplifier, it protects the receiver from getting overloaded. All right, so here we go. We're going to share this because we can. This is what filtering does. Okay, anyone get that call sign? Notice they're not 0 beat. And for UCM. This is evidence of not 0 beating. Look, you can see it on the display. Maybe. I don't hear the other guy at all. Oh, we totally lost him that time. Okay, anybody copy that call sign?
Something
Oh,
USN?
yeah, K1 USN. You know, let's pick another one of their receivers because that one is pointing west. We want one pointing east. So let's grab one pointing east. Eastern pointing. There we go. You might notice it's a little more crowded. Maybe. Okay, let's see if we can. Okay, let's see if anybody can get that call sign. Copy everything you can. This is where we put it. This is where we make it real. That was GE. Good evening. See if someone calls CQ. SST. What was that? Everyone?
Question mark.
That was a question mark. Why is the question mark so important?
It enhances communication.
That's right. Okay, let's work on getting this guy's call sign. He'll send SST. Good evening. Listen for SSC. And what I'm going to do.
NM5G.
NM5G. And what I'm going to do is go over here and change my microphone over to here and hope that I can share and set it up. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, NM5G. All right, and let's throw a name in there. Ready? Okay, so I'm going to put a replying call sign in there. Here we go. Anyone get that?
I recognize
That's
it.
you.
That was me, yeah. Okay, and here's the reply. So the other station has to verify that it's me, confirm that it got the call right. Here it comes. Okay, what were those next letters?
DE.
GE. What is GE?
Good evening.
Good evening. Because it's never too late. There's always time to be a little bit polite. Okay, here's the report. Do you want to hear it again? So there's a question mark saying I didn't get it. Send it again. What's the name?
Ed.
Ed in
Texas.
TX. Yep. And then I would say, what is that? What's that letter?
Receive.
Received.
Thank you.
TU. Thank you. Okay. Okay,
Scott.
and let's say that
Scott.
they didn't get it.
Oh,
They might also send these 3 letters. What are those 3 letters?
again. AGN.
Again, they might actually do this. With a question mark.
Again, question mark.
Okay, and then I would say,
Scott,
Scott.
Oregon.
Scott space OR for Oregon. And then the reply would be, and then it's somebody else's turn. So, we're going to go with somebody else's turn. Here we go.
W7UUE.
Yeah, W7. Peter, did you get your own call? Peter might not be. He might be there, but not really.
I'm kind of in and out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
What are you
It's
talking
W7
about me for?
Yeah, exactly. W7UUE. Okay, so this is the response. What does that mean again?
Question mark.
Question
I
mark.
did. Whatever you sent, I didn't get it. So Peter sends his call again. This time, it's confirmed. Uh-oh. What was that?
Uh-oh.
What was
Who
that?
is it?
What are you doing?
What was
Do
that?
something you. W7UU.
What's the
M.
last letter? UUM.
M.
But the guy thinks he got it right, so he will say, Ed in Texas, right? Still Ed in Texas. But then Peter will say, what is that?
SR.
Da-da-da-da.
No, HR.
Here. And he'll send his call again, like twice. Oops. Followed by maybe, which is BK, which is back to you. So, Peter basically said, no, you got my call wrong, so there's no point going any further with this. If you got my call wrong, it's not going to be a contact anyway, so let's get that figured out. So then the other station might say, what would that be?
W7UU question mark question mark.
Yeah, like, okay, well, I know it's you use something. Give it to me again, because I still know that I don't have it right. Then Peter will say, all right, which was,
Gave his call sign.
and then
K.
BK. So, certain things, when you're on the air, will really become your friend. Like those quick interactions back and forth, back to you, BK. The other person will then say, that's a big one. R, yeah. Let's say somebody asks you a question, and the answer is yes.
C.
C, for correct or yes. So then, they know they got the call right. They'll start by this. GE. right? Good evening. Here it is. What was that again?
N.
In.
Back to
No. It's a state.
a break.
No, it's a state.
Texas.
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 TX.
Texas.
And Peter will say, which is received.
Thank you.
And thank you. What'd you send there, Peter?
Let's
Okay.
see. I was listening half. Sorry. Try again. Oh, my name.
Okay.
Broken.
Well, no, I mean, we changed your name to Pete for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double R.
And then you'll hear, and then it goes on and on and on and on until the thing is over, or until the person gets tired of listening.
Vitor.
So let's go and go back to here. Let's see if you can hear some of the elements in here. FB, CX8, FB. It's in the Uruguay. Here's confirmation of the call. There's the guy's name. And the state. R. From CX8.
Painful.
FB. Good afternoon. LM. RR. 599. Your 579. Your name. I bet he sends a question mark. A couple R's. Name. Is. Reiner. R-A-I-N-E-R. R-R. Good evening. Rainer. To you. From. K1USN. Ooh, came back fast. K1. SEI. Confirmation. Anyone get his name and state? If anyone answers. Nope, so I'm just going to do what? Call CQ again. K1 USN. K1 USN from let's hear that again. Oh, he didn't get it, so he asked for K1ZY/mobile. Wants it again. Question mark, right? W1 ZY/M. /M, question mark. Remember when I said you could just end up repeating your call sign a whole bunch of times? This is what's happening right now. I think he got it. Nope. Question mark, he got it wrong again. At some point, the other guy might give up. Because it's just too frustrating. All right, so what just happened?
That's a lot of noise on my end that I can hear.
Well, it is a lot of noise. They're listening through a lot of noise. Conditions are very noisy right now. So what just happened to that guy who was calling there? The other station missed his call how many times? 5 times, right? And what eventually did he just do? Well, he said, to heck with this, I'm going somewhere else. There's only
Is
1
that
minute left.
K6? K6
K1.
somebody? K1? Oh, shoot. Oh,
Come on, there's got to be one more station going. NHJMS. And it's almost 6. It's over at 6. Not the class, this event. CQ. Ooh, 4 CQs. Anyone get his call sign?
It sounded like it was breaking up. It was pretty hard to copy.
N8JMS.
Is there a J in there?
Yep. Well, it's our friend in Uruguay again. You got it.
Is there an N in there?
Yeah, it's a JMS. Oh, here's our RST
He's got a signal at S9.
579. There's a break. QTH. What's that state?
White?
Da 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 da.
H.
Name. Okay, so I am going to take over the sending, and we're going to do what state he's in, and gonna make sure that we're there, and here we go. Can everybody hear okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the state he is in.
Ohio.
Ohio. Spelled it out. And here's his name.
Justin.
Justin.
One more time, Justin. So, this is what our eventual goal is, to be able to copy stuff like this. And everybody knows all the letters, right?
Yes.
Everyone knows all the letters. It's just a question of how fast you recall what is what. The faster you recall each letter, the faster you move on to the next one, the less the chance that you skip something and miss something. So I'm going to send a couple of names, and you guys work on that. Here we go. Ready?
Dennis.
Dennis. Next one.
Edward.
Edward.
Edward. And here comes the next one.
Tom.
Tom. Some of us are blessed with easier names than others. Next one.
Annette.
Annette.
Got that one. I got that one.
You got that one, see? There's Annette. Now, you know, there's something tricky about those letters, those names and words with a lot of short letters. They make you think really quick because they're short, you know? Like Annette, it's got a lot of really short ones, like, right? You got to think E-T-T-E. Okay, they're short. You should recall them quickly because they're pretty easy, but they come faster than others. Now, here's another one.
Nancy.
I'll repeat it. You
Nancy.
get Nancy. Okay, here's one that's near and dear to my heart. It's a palindrome.
Hannah.
Hannah with an H at the end. That's my daughter.
Oh.
And here's her call sign.
W7HER.
Yeah.
Her.
In addition to being a girl, those are also her initials. W7HER. Here's another one.
Lois.
Got Lois.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one.
Nate.
That's my other kid. And here's his call sign. Again.
K7NAR.
K7NAR. Those are his initials. And Here's my wife.
Karen?
Mhm. That's Karen. And here's her call sign. Again.
K3 Lux?
What do
Uh-huh.
you guys-
Her last name is Luks. So when she saw that that was available with a suffix Lux, it's how you pronounce her last name, so she took it. So again, K3Lux. Okay. How about this one?
Rake.
Okay, Rick. Okay, not to be confused with.
Richard.
Richard. Okay, and then there's again.
Becky.
Okay, and finally, again. What's that
That's
call
a-
sign?
Call sign. Oh, okay.
AE5.
AE5
Yeah.
OY? No, OQ.
OQ. Raise your hand. Wave if your call sign is AE5OQ. Okay, so let's see. How about let's see.
Peter.
Peter. Yeah. Okay. Do that one a lot. Okay, so one thing, I'm going to switch the microphone back. Okay, so one thing that's important to note, you notice there's really no letter that's any more difficult or complicated than any other one. They're all unique. They all sound the same. They all sound different from each other. They all have their own unique sound. And it's really just about practice, practice, practice. And, you know, if you practice and practice some more and practice some more, you will get it. You know, but sometimes you have to force yourself to practice even when you don't want to.
So that app you told me about, Scott, Morse, Ham Morse, that one really stretches my brain more than usual.
Is that Simon's AA9PW?
Yeah, that's the one.
Here's his website. Let's see if I can get it. AA9PW website. There we go. Practice site.
Oh no, not that. Yeah, the app.
Ham Morse iOS app.
That's it.
So you want to talk about it a little bit?
Well, I'm just starting to use it, but basically you can change the speed, which is handy. You can have the text show up as soon as it is sent, or you can actually have it delayed by, I think, up to 5 seconds. So you have a chance to try and figure it out yourself. And then what's really cool about it, the reason I was interested in it, what Scott told me about, is that you can have the headlines from the major newspapers sent in text in code, so that you're getting kind of a phrase or a sentence of something that you wouldn't expect. But there's a lot more to it than that too. I'm just starting to use it. It
What
just,
was that again?
I can start to get the words, but it's not, I get one word or another word of the headlines. And then it's like, oh, this is kind of interesting because it's a headline.
And
And
the
it's
site again?
it's A9PW, and his app is called Ham Morse, iOS.
iOS?
Well, it's it's iPhone operating system.
Okay.
So Ham Morse.
Does it do Android or not?
I don't know if he's got one for Android.
Oh.
And what's his name again?
Simon, I think it's Simon. AA9PW. Is it Simon Twigger? Funny name. But it's called AA9PW. Let's see.
It's definitely more challenging than LCWO, but
Yeah.
with LCWO, I've gotten to the point of just using the words because I got tired of sending the random characters at whatever length. But the words and the call sign ones, those are really helpful.
Well, he's obviously British because he's been licensed with a C, and he has a British call sign. So there you go. I also have Ham Morse, and this is his iPhone. This is his website again, which I actually have been using for a very long time. Notice this Morse code generator. Set it for 13 words a minute. Oh, let's see. Coke. Let's go with QSO. Go. Can everybody hear? RST. Solid. Copy. Break. Up. Here is Roland. QTH is Johnstown. Spelling out Pennsylvania. Weather here is hot and humid. Right? TS 50S and is Cushcraft Tri-Band with 150 watts.
You got the 150 watts.
Why are they all shown in big dots?
Oh, because now they're not, because you didn't want to, if you wanted to see them.
But I can't see them as dots and dashes, just dots.
No, those are not dots. Those are just blanks for each word, each letter. It's just to
Tells you
cover
how
up each
many
letter.
characters in each word?
See, if I hide the text, it's just, those aren't dits and dots. Those are just
Spaces?
spaces. Yeah, those are in characters that translate to that. They're just hiding them. You're not supposed to be looking at dits and dots anyway.
I wasn't. I was just looking at big dots.
Yeah, they're big dots.
All right.
So this is, we made it through that. So this is actually a really nice little website. Here's, I'm gonna put the, I lost my mouse. There we go. I'm gonna put that in the chat. Chat is very useful. There's the chat. Good place to practice. Of course, a better place to practice is on the air. So, because you never know what's coming at you. But now one thing about this is that this typically doesn't make mistakes. So the other thing that I just wanted to do before we shut down for the night is see if the N5J folks have decided to move to CW again. And it doesn't look like it.
They're on 21-020, probably 020. Well, I'm listening to the pile up on 21-028.
Really? They're still there? Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. I want to go there. I was looking to see where they might be. And so I'm going to use a westward pointing beam. Hopefully. And let me switch over to here. Let's go find a pile up. Love a good pile up. Okay. I think it was there's the east pointing beam. And it's on 15 meters, right?
Yes.
Okay. And oh, there we go. Okay, so this is the pile up. There's somebody just tuning up in the middle of the pile up, which they shouldn't be doing. Come on. So, question for you. I can't hear. I can't hear the DX station on this.
I can't hear him on my receiver either.
So all we can hear is the pile up side.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, what I don't know is which direction they're pointed.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, look, the pile up's spreading. Okay, so this pile up right now is about 1.5 kilohertz wide. It will spread itself out. So to give you some idea of when I was in Vanuatu, I would be on like 21.030. Pile up would run from 031 clear up to 039 or 40.
Wow.
It would be almost 10 kilohertz wide on CW, which is an enormous pile up, and it would last for hours and hours and hours. It was just an amazing thing. So, oop, there's a Japanese station. Oh, wait, what's that one? Oh, CO2XN. Okay, so what cardinal sin is that station committing right now?
He's probably on frequency that in 5J is on.
Yeah. So if somebody says up, and you don't know what up means, or you don't know how to set your radio in split mode, you're gonna really, really have the wrath downloaded on you. Because what happens, what that station was just doing, and it might be a very, it might be a very innocent thing. They just forgot to hit the split button or something. But basically, that station was calling over the DX station.
Yeah.
And ruining it for everyone.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you'll find somebody who does that on purpose. And that's really bad. You know what we call those people? Besides a jammer?
Lids.
They are lids. That's right.
Lid.
There you go. That is the definition of a lid. All right. So good practice, everyone.
Yep.
So you got some new cool tools to play with. Here's another one, Morse Runner. What's really nice is that these are all free. They work really well. And get out there and, here's the other thing too. If you have a side tone oscillator that can do like this, you can send during one of our little soirees here. And you can send code practice and practice sending to other people. So if you have that, you have a radio nearby and you can turn off the transmitter and make it just so that, your microphone is next to the speaker output so that you want to, you can just send. Feel free to do that, get it ready for the next class. We'll have some QSOs in our class and everybody else can listen and grade you. No, not grade you. Cindy, you're so quiet because you're muted. There, I asked you to unmute. I'm not used to hearing no Cindy voice.
That's because my cat's talking with me, and
Do you
I don't
know
know about that.
Do you know that cats can send Morse code? I've had that happen several times when I used to have a cat. You know how that happens?
Intentionally?
No, but
Okay.
they can send Morse code. You know why? Because radios are nice and warm, and sometimes they like to play with paddles. Sometimes they'll curl up next to it. This is actually a really important notice. If you have cats and you leave your radio, make sure you turn off break-in on Morse code. If you have break-in turned on and your cat finds it, your cat will send for you when you didn't plan on doing so. So make sure you turn off break-in so that your cat won't send anything. Anybody got anything else for tonight? Keep studying.
Yep.
Keep practicing. Is it becoming easier for everyone, I hope? Armstead, I see your mouth moving.
A little bit.
Okay, well, a little bit is better than not at all.
I find myself knowing characters fairly well, quite well actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just drop a blank, like on Q. You had sent Q a little while ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you asked what it was, and I couldn't tell you. And then 2 seconds later, I could.
Oh, it's cute. Yeah. Well, just keep drilling on it. And, like sometimes, let me go back to AA9PW. And let me open this up. And share it. Make sure I got that click. And that's pretty much what I look like here. Morse code, for learning Morse code generator. I think one of the things that we had maybe was it was QSO, and there's at least one of these sites that will generate. Oh, I think. Hold on. Morse code. Hold on. Is it Morse code world? Here, yeah. This is another one that I'd use. Here's a CW generator. Close. Come on. And I want to say that headlines. Here we go. Let's go with BBC World. And and 20 and go.
Ukrainian troops now up to 30 kilometers inside Russia, Moscow says.
It even translates it in voice. So, morsecode.world. That's another app or another website that I've used which can be useful.
What was that one called?
There it is, morsecode.world.
Morsecode.world.
You can set it up for whatever speed you want and whatever your news source is, and other things as well. All right, I got a mirror to go hang up in a bathroom. It's been a very busy day, and I thank you for all for giving me a little bit of rest and relaxation in the middle of my crazy day. Sorry, this is relaxing for me. I know it's not relaxing for all of you, but it's relaxing for me.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Scott.
See you on at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. I'll send that out.
Thank you.
Yep.